Dramatic music rises. A split screen appears. On the left, Senator Ron Wyden standing tall in a Senate hearing, papers in his hand. On the right, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett adjusting her glasses, calm but sharp-eyed. The chyron flashes across the bottom. Live a Senate clash. Narrator, V.O. Washington, D.C. has seen countless fiery debates. But what unfolded when Senator Ron Wyden tried to publicly humiliate Representative Jasmine Crockett wasn't just another political showdown, it was a moment that electrified millions and left the chamber frozen in stunned silence. A broken bar. Scene 1, the setting, Senate committee hearing, crowded with media, senators, and House members invited for testimony. The camera pans across the chamber, reporters whisper, laptops click, a sense of tension hangs in the air. Chairperson, the committee will now recognize Senator Ron Wyden for questioning. Wyden adjusts his glasses, leans forward with the sharp, deliberate tone. Ron Wyden, thank you, Madam Chair. Now a broken bar. Representative Crockett, you've made headlines with your sharp words. But words don't equate to credibility. The American people want solutions, not sound bites. So tell me, do you really think you belong at this table when you've spent more time chasing cameras than legislating policy? The room gasps softly. Reporters immediately scribble notes. Cameras zoom in on Crockett, waiting for her reaction. Scene 2, the first shock. Jasmine Crockett pauses, tilts her head, and slowly sets her pen down. Her eyes lock on Wyden. Jasmine Crockett, calm, deliberate. Senator Wyden, a broken bar. With all due respect, I belong at this table because I was elected by the people to fight for them, not to play politics with them. If defending democracy, exposing corruption, and speaking the truth looks like chasing cameras to you, then maybe the cameras are following me because the truth is newsworthy. The crowd murmurs. A few gasps. Wyden shifts in his chair, caught off guard. Scene 3, Wyden pushes harder. Ron Wyden, with a smirk, Congresswoman, that's a fine speech, but rhetoric doesn't feed families. You've accused corporations of greed, yet your record on passing substantive economic policy is paper thin. Isn't it true that your approach is more about theatrics than results? He leans back smugly, expecting applause. Scene 4, Crockett's counterstrike. Jasmine Crockett sits forward, fire in her voice. Senator, let's talk about results. While you've sat in the Senate for decades, cozy with corporate lobbyists, I've been on the ground defending people in courtrooms, representing families who couldn't afford a lawyer, and yes, passing bills that protect working-class Americans. You want to call that theatrics? Fine. But theatrics don't get laws written, and laws don't get passed without courage. The difference between us, Senator, is that I don't need lobbyists to write my talking points. The crowd erupts in murmurs. Journalists raise their cameras higher. Wyden's smirk fades. The chairperson bangs the gavel for order. Scene 5, the room turns. Reporter, whispering to colleague, did she just call Wyden out on corporate ties? That's bold. Colleague, bold? That was a direct hit. Twitter's about to explode. Cut to social media feeds on screen. Hashtags trend instantly. A hash Crockett clapback, hash Wyden versus Crockett, hash truth to power. Scene 6, Wyden's last attempt. Ron Wyden, defensive, voice rising, Representative Crockett, I have spent my career fighting for transparency and accountability. You sit here painting me as some corporate puppet. That's outrageous. I have the receipts to prove my record. Jasmine Crockett, unflinching, then show them. Senator, show the American people your campaign donations, your voting record, and the backroom meetings you've had. I'll show mine too. Let's see who's really working for the people. Broken bar and who's working for the boardrooms. The chamber goes silent. Reporters stop typing. Wyden opens his mouth, but no words come out. He fumbles with his papers. The camera zooms in on his trembling hand. Scene 7, the explosion. Narrator, V.O. In that moment, Wyden's decades of polished rhetoric collapsed under Crockett's unflinching truth. She didn't just respond as she exposed the very cracks in the system he tried to hide behind. Crockett continues, her voice rising with righteous energy. Jasmine Crockett, this isn't about you or me, Senator, this is about every American who's tired of politicians playing dress up while their families struggle. If telling the truth makes me theatrical, then I'll happily put on the show. Because the audience isn't lobbyists, it's the American people. The chamber explodes with claps, despite the chair banging the gavel. Wyden sits frozen, his face pale. Crockett leans back, composed. Scene 8. The aftermath. News clips roll across the screen. CNN anchor. In a fiery exchange today, Representative Jasmine Crockett silenced Senator Ron Wyden with a blistering defense of her record and a challenge that left him visibly shaken. Fox anchor. Wyden fumbled badly today as Crockett seized the spotlight, flipping his attacks into a rallying cry for transparency. MSNBC anchor. Millions tuned in, but no one expected this. Social media is calling it the Crockett mic drop. Scene 9. Social media storm. Montage of tweets, TikToks, and Instagram reels flooding in. At TruthTeller87, Ron Wyden tried to clown her. Jasmine Crockett just turned Congress into a courtroom and won. At Jen's Politics, she's not afraid. She just told a U.S. senator, receipts or shut up. At Boomer Watcher, been watching politics for 40 years. Never seen Wyden look that rattled. Crockett's the real deal. Scene 10. Closing monologue. Narrator, V.O. In a world where politicians often drown in scripted lines and empty promises, Jasmine Crockett reminded America of something rare: authentic truth. Ron Wyden came to humiliate her. Instead, he exposed his own weakness. And in just a few minutes, Jasmine Crockett turned what could have been an ambush into a moment that will be remembered as one of the most electrifying congressional showdowns in recent history. At the end, camera zooms in on Crockett's fascia, calm, collected, unbothered, then fades out to black with bold text. Text on screen. Ron Wyden tried to humiliate Jasmine Crockett, but what she said shocked millions.